Sister Yvonne Aimee received from Jesus a vision of a great invasion of Europe and a prayer as a shield for these times. Sister Yvonne Aimee de Malestroix received visions of World War II, which came true, and Jesus showed her that Europe would then be invaded, and that the attack would be so brutal that it would surpass the atrocities of World War II. And most importantly, he gave her protection to get through this period. Here you will learn what Jesus announced was coming and the spiritual protection he gave Sister Yvonne Aimee for our time. This is especially important given the emerging scenario of World War III. Imagine that one day, while you pray, you see in detail a next great war, and at the same time, you receive the key to survive it. That happened to a young woman named Yvonne Beauvais in 1922, who was in prayer when suddenly she was presented with a scene that would mark the rest of her life. She saw how a great darkness covered the earth, while smoke spirals rose to the sky. She observed soldiers in green uniforms who did not belong to any known army at that time, going up and down trucks. From the air, planes threw large cylinders that caused fires in the cities, and a number was engraved with force in her mind, 39. And then an even worse war was shown to her. And that same year, Yvonne had another manifestation, completely different in tone. Jesus appeared to her not as a severe judge, but as a 3-year-old boy, crowned and with an olive branch in one hand, while with the other he pointed to his heart. And he taught her a prayer that would be a powerful spiritual weapon and a protection against times of darkness that were yet to come. Yvonne was born in French Brittany on July 16, 1901, the day of the Virgin of Carmel. From a very young age, she felt the desire to be a saint. When she was 9 years old, 2 days after her first communion, she wrote a love pact addressed to Jesus and did it with her own blood. In it, she offered herself completely to his will, asking to save souls and even accepting to suffer if that was necessary. At 21, during a disease, she met the Augustin Sisters of the Mercy of Jesus in Malestroix. There she found her place. She entered the community and took the name of Sir Yvonne Aimee de Jesus. She was not an isolated religion from the world, lost in ecstasy. She was a concrete woman with great organizational capacity who could lead an organization and at the same time maintain an intense life of prayer. This combination of spirituality and practical effectiveness gave her a special authority, especially because what she said was speechless. She lived it and put it to the test in reality. And her friends did not know how to tell what they saw because it sounded impossible. Those who knew her told cases of physical and spiritual healings after her prayers. They also told episodes of relocation in which she seemed to be in 2 places at the same time. She received stigmas in her hands, feet, and heart, and had a remarkable ability to discern the inner state of people and give them the right word they needed to hear. In addition, her prophecies were precise, first about the Second World War and then about a third war, which she described as shorter but more brutal. She did not seek these gifts, nor did she promote them as curiosity. She understood them as tools to serve, to heal wounds, and to prepare people for difficult times. And among all these tools, the devotion to Jesus, King of Love, was the main one. And in 1939, what had been seen in 1922 began to be fulfilled. Germany adopted the green uniform. The cities burned under the bombings. Then it made sense the vision she had had years before. Yvonne hid Jewish and Allied soldiers and even disguised as a paratrooper of nuns to deceive the Gestapo. She was arrested and tortured, but something incredible happened. Her angel, according to her, released her from prison and returned her to the convent. Later, in 1945, General Charles de Gaulle decorated her with the Legion of Honor for her heroic acts during the war. That experience confirmed to her that what she had seen in her youth was real, and that what was still to be accomplished had to be taken very seriously. And after the war, a priest asked her if France would defeat communism. Yvonne replied yes, but that before there would be a great tribulation. She described a revolution in France, followed by the Third World War and a Russian invasion accompanied by Islamist forces. It would not be a liberation, she warned, but an occupation. Worse than the Nazis in terms of atrocities, although shorter, of less than a year. In his visions, he also saw men in strange costumes and large medals manipulated by demonic forces, something that some interpreted as a reference to Freemasonry. And he spoke of a context of confusion where many would believe that Russia was coming to save, when in reality it would bring destruction. And in the midst of this dark panorama, Yvonne also saw hope. She was announced the arrival of a great Christian monarch, a leader who would not be a simple ruler, but an instrument of God. This monarch, with a small, invincible army, would defeat the invaders and restore the social reign of Christ. Europe would live a period of peace, order, and faith. It would not be definitive, but a time granted to rebuild what the war had destroyed. This vision of the great monarch, like that of the Third World War, the Islamic and Russian invasion, coincides with other prophecies of the time, such as those of Marie-Julie Jenny. But what distinguishes Yvonne is that she was pointed out a concrete spiritual tool to go through those times without losing faith. And to understand that tool, you have to go back to 1922, when she received the vision of the war. She also received the devotion to Jesus, King of Love. Jesus showed her like a child, so that no one would feel intimidated. That image sought to approach especially those who had been injured and had lost their innocence due to violence, war, or abuse. And a powerful prayer was given to him. O Jesus, King of Love, I trust in you. That he should pray for the morning and for the night. The image itself said it all. The crown to remember that Christ is King even in the midst of chaos. The olive branch as a symbol of peace and healing, and the gesture of pointing out the heart as an invitation to receive his mercy. The last warning of Jesus was not for the time of Sorbonne. It was for ours. Yvonne Aimee spoke of a great tribulation that would come before the world would regain peace. She described a revolution in France, followed by a Russian Islamic invasion of Europe. It would not be a long occupation, but fierce, less than a year, with atrocities worse than those of the Second World War. And before this, Jesus gave Yvonne Aimee a weapon. Repeat the invocation, O Jesus, King of Love, I trust in you, at all times. When he awoke, before going to sleep, in danger, temptation, or anguish. In 1932, the Bishop of Laval officially approved the invocation, and then it was recommended by other pastors. The image of Jesus, King of Love, is a representation of the baby Jesus, crowned, pointing out his luminous heart, and with an olive branch in his hand. And it is reflected in stamps, medals, and rosaries. Designed by the Congregation of the Hospitallary Augustins of the Mercy of Jesus in Malestroix. Well, so far, the visions that Jesus delivered to Yvonne Aimee about the Third World War and the devotion to Jesus, King of Love, to cross it. And I would like to ask you, what you think of this devotion as a response to a prophecy about the Third World War. May God bless you and fill you with strength for what is to come.
Welcome to Mother in Refuge at the End Times. We are thrilled to announce our Mother in Refuge pilgrimage to Medjugorje. We are traveling to Medjugorje for the historic 45th anniversary of the apparitions of the Queen of Peace. This momentous pilgrimage will be held between June 22nd, 2026 and June 29th, 2026, with the option of continuing to Rome and Garabandal. This first ever Mother in Refuge pilgrimage will be hosted by Totally Yours Pilgrimages and will be led by our very own beloved channel host and chaplain, Father Dom Francis. Other Mother in Refuge team members will also be present, such as Rafael Vilanco, Ron Ray, and others, for an unbeatable price of only $2,995, including flights from the U.S., transportation, lodging, and 2 daily meals, or $1,795 for a land-only package suitable for those joining us from outside of the USA. This is a once-in-a-lifetime pilgrimage. Please register as soon as possible so that you do not miss out. Please visit this website to register. As always, we thank you so much for your support. May God bless you and keep you, and may the Immaculate Heart of Mary be your refuge.